Hello everyone, it's Jennifer McCreath. It is Thursday, November 15th, 2018. I want to talk a little bit today about Graydon Pelley, who some of you may seen his name in the news lately. Before we get into him, let's give you a little background on me in case you don't know who I am. Jennifer McCreath, St. John's, Newfoundland. Openly transgender, transsexual person, and the first openly transsexual person to have their name appear on a federal ballot for a Canadian election, which I did in 2015. I also identify as lesbian. Now, Mr. Pelley has left the Provincial Progressive Conservative Party and says he wants to start his own movement known as the Newfoundland and Labrador Alliance. And very quickly, it seems, critics of this concept went digging through Mr. Pelley's history of social media, and which is a sign that they're afraid and they're intimidated by this guy. And of course, the leaders of the three parties who currently hold seats in the provincial legislature all tried to suggest that it's a bad idea to create a fourth party. Imagine that. And what I find interestingly unique is people focused on attacking Mr. Pelley for previous social media posts in which he had shared other people's posts that included potentially anti-gay and anti-transgender comments. And ironically enough, Mr. Pelley defended himself and said, I actually have a gay son. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to write this guy and say hello and try to figure out, okay, what's this guy really all about? Did he post those things because he holds blatant, discriminatory, hateful feelings towards gay and trans people? Or was he simply one of the many people out there who hasn't necessarily been properly educated about what these issues are? You know what? Mr. Pelley wrote me back and said he'd be glad to speak with me. So for that, I'm excited, because a lot of politicians I've written to have not written back to me over the years and have elected not to listen to me or work with me. So I want to show you something very quickly here. All right, zoom here. Medical care plan coverage, health and community services, Newfoundland and Labrador. This great health care we supposedly have here in Canada, well, guess what? Each province gets to decide what's covered and what's not. And you'll notice deep in the fine print, not covered, sex change surgery unless recommended by the Clark Institute of Psychiatry. I'm going to recenter this camera on me. Stand by there for a quick second. The lighting's a little off. All right, so that policy goes back to the 1990s. I believe it was 1996 when, at the time, the Clark Institute of Psychiatry self-proclaimed themselves as experts on transsexual health. However, that was 22, almost 23 years ago, and times have definitely changed. The Clark Institute since became known as CAMH, Center for Addictions and Mental Health. And one by one over the years, provinces changed their policy, removed their policy, and no longer require trans patients to attend said clinic in order to get access to funding for trans health procedures. In fact, not even Ontario. The Clark Institute is in Toronto, Ontario. Even Ontario does not require trans people to visit this place in order to get coverage for trans health. In fact, Newfoundland and Labrador is the only province left that requires trans people to travel to this place. Needless to say, I've been raising this issue for 11 years, maybe almost 12 years. Well, the Conservative government, they refused to change it. All those years, Danny Williams was the Premier, Kathy Dunderdale. Who else was Premier? Tom Marshall, and for a short time, Paul Davis. No. We're not even going to acknowledge your email. We're not going to write you back. We're not going to talk about this, Jennifer. So enter the Liberals, Dwight Ball, 2015, and year after year, guess what? Nobody there, not Minister Hagee, nobody wants to discuss this issue with me. And then there's the NDP. They've never actually held power, so they have never actually had the opportunity to change that policy, but what they have had is the opportunity to raise the issue in the House. Table a bill, table a motion, raise the issue in question period. Hence, no, that has not happened. The NDP, I will give them some credit. They have spoken out about some trans issues and they played a key role in helping move along certain trans issues, such as getting human rights protection for trans people, as well as helping non-binary trans people get an X on their passport or birth certificate. However, they don't want to touch this one either. So you know what, folks? Maybe Mr. Pelley is not trans-friendly. Maybe he is. Bottom line is the status quo. The three parties out there right now, they are not interested, in my opinion. All they give a shit about is themselves. They do nothing but pay mere lip service to trans people. So as far as I'm concerned, they're all not here to help us. I would even go so far as to say they're all enemies of the trans community. At least Mr. Pelley's willing to speak with me, so you know what? I'm actually excited. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. And not just talking about trans issues, but issues overall. I represented a federal party called Strength in Democracy that was specifically trying to organize a coalition of individual ideologies and come up with a way to do politics very differently. Rather than have a party line and a party whip and a system where only the ministers made all the decisions, we were looking to do something very different. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for us in 2015 and the party folded. But it looks like what Mr. Pelley has in mind here is quite similar to that. And because of that, I'm going to have a phone call with Mr. Pelley in the near future. And I gotta say, I'm cautiously optimistic and excited about this. And so there you have it. Don't just judge a book by its cover, and don't judge somebody based on smear campaigns on social media. Believe me, I've been smeared on social media many times. I've had people try to twist things I've said and turn them into something completely different. So you status quo people, you better watch out, because change is going to come to Newfoundland. Whether it's Graydon Pelley, whether it's Jennifer McCreath, whether it's somebody else. Is it the NL Alliance Party, or is it another party? Yeah, believe me, there's a lot of people fed up with the status quo. And Mr. Pelley may find himself with some very unique and different people reaching out to him. People you might not think would reach out to him. And I'm going to be the first to put my hand up and say I'm looking forward to talking to this gentleman and see what we can come up with. So Liberals, Conservatives, NDP, be very afraid, because you're about to lose your power. And that's the bottom line, because I'm Jennifer McCreath. Thanks for listening and watching. Have a great day, everyone.